Welcome to the Explainer. So glad you're here. Today we've got a very specific, highly targeted mission. We are building your strategic playbook to absolutely conquer the ArcGIS Pro Associate 2025 certification. Look, if you're a GIS pro, an analyst, or maybe a migrating ArcMap user wanting to validate your chops in the modern 3.x environment, you're in the exact right place. We're skipping the fluff today. We're getting straight into the tactical study plan you need to pass the EAPA 2025 exam.
Okay, I want you to look at this number, 72. That is the absolute maximum number of seconds you have per question on this exam. Literally, 72 seconds. You've got 90 minutes to tackle 75 multiple-choice questions. So what does that actually mean for you? It means this test isn't just some leisurely stroll down memory lane. It's a high-pressure gauntlet testing your speed, your spatial logic, and, honestly, your interface muscle memory. There's zero time to panic or just click around hoping you stumble on the right tool. You can't second-guess yourself, which is exactly why we're locking down a rock-solid strategy right now. So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First up, we'll map out the EAPA 2025 blueprint. Then we dive into geodatabase and automation mastery, followed by some spatial logic and tool selection drills. Finally, we'll lock in that interface muscle memory and your overall exam day strategy. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The EAPA 2025 Blueprint. Know your terrain. All right, let's look at how the syllabus weights are actually distributed here. Notice data management sitting right there at the top, taking up 32%. That's massive. It's the heaviest domain on the whole exam, which means you've got to dedicate the biggest chunk of your study time to mastering geodatabase structures, coordinate systems, and editing workflows. Then, you'll see visualization and analysis are both sitting pretty hefty at 25% each, followed up by layouts and sharing at 18%. Your study plan has to mirror these percentages. Like, please don't spend 80% of your time making gorgeous map layouts when it's literally only 18% of the test. You've got to focus your energy where the points actually are.
Moving on to Section 2, Geodatabase and Automation Mastery, the Foundations of Pro.
Now, the exam is going to heavily test your ability to enforce data integrity through schema-level constraints. You absolutely have to know the difference between these elements cold. Subtypes, for instance, let you categorize features within a single feature class, like, say, distinguishing between main and service lines in a water network, so you can apply different default values to each. Domains are a bit different. They restrict what can actually be typed into an attribute field. Coded value domains limit entries to a specific drop-down list, like active or inactive, which totally prevents typos. Range domains, on the other hand, restrict entries to a numeric minimum or maximum, which is perfect for validating something like pipe pressure. Mastering these is absolutely crucial because it prevents catastrophic data entry errors out in the real world, like someone typing 1,000 PSI instead of 100, and it's going to score you major points on the test.
And we can't talk about Pro without talking about automation, right? It's a huge part of the modern workflow, and understanding the redesigned ModelBuilder interface is a must. With the recent updates, ModelBuilder's visual language shifted to align more with ArcGIS Online. Knowing these visual cues is going to save you precious seconds on those automation questions. Notice how all the nodes are now these modern rounded rectangles. If a tool or variable is this flat, dull gray, that's the invalid state, meaning, hey, you're missing some required parameters. But once you fill it out correctly, boom, it springs to life with these pastel colors, signaling it's ready to run. And when it actually executes, you get progressive feedback right there on the screen, ending in a green check mark for success or a bright red X if it fails. Instantly recognizing these states is a real game changer for the troubleshooting scenarios they'll throw at you.
Section 3. Spatial Logic and Tool Selection, Rapid-Fire Drills.
Okay, let's do a quick drill. Here's your scenario. You need to identify areas where a flood zone polygon overlaps with residential parcels, and you have to combine the attributes from both of those layers in your final output. I want you to really think about the spatial logic governing that desired output. Take a second. What tool instantly comes to mind? Well, the absolute crucial point here is choosing the Intersect tool. But why? Because the prompt specifically asks to identify only the areas where they overlap. Intersect strictly isolates those overlapping areas and merges their attributes. The Union tool, on the other hand, it computes the full geometric union, meaning it keeps absolutely all the geometry from both inputs, whether they overlap or not. The exam literally loves to test your ability to distinguish between these two specific tools, so always keep your eyes peeled for keywords like overlap versus all features to guide your spatial logic when you're under the gun.
All right, Section 4, Interface Muscle Memory, Building Speed and Precision.
So reading the syllabus isn't enough. We need to talk about muscle memory. Check out how these specific keyboard shortcuts can drastically cut down your navigation time, which is especially huge during those interactive, simulation-style exam questions where you're actually clicking through the interface. Say you're validating topology in the Error Inspector pane. Hitting Ctrl+Shift+N instantly pans to your selected error. Bam! If you've identified features in a pop-up and need to grab them all, just hit Ctrl+A and then Ctrl+C in the pop-up results tree to copy them instantly. And when you're navigating those massive geodatabases in the catalog pane, just tap the left arrow key to collapse the contents of a selected folder or database. Building this muscle memory is so important because it frees your brain up to focus on the actual spatial problems instead of hunting around for hidden menus.
You also really need to cement your mental map of the ArcGIS Pro contextual ribbon. When you select a feature layer, multiple contextual tabs pop up, right? Knowing instantly whether to click Appearance or Data is vital for your efficiency. The Appearance tab is strictly for visual tools. That's your go-to for symbology, labeling, transparency, all that good stuff. But the Data tab? That's your structural control center. That is where you go to manage fields, set up subtypes, or create table joins. So, if a test question asks how to modify a field alias, you shouldn't even hesitate. You should instantly know you're heading straight to the Data tab, not Appearance.
Section 5, Exam Day Strategy, Tactical Execution. Let's walk through this step-by-step heuristic together. I call this the context recognition tactic, and honestly, it's the ultimate exam hack to instantly decode those really complex troubleshooting questions. Step 1, read the prompt and classify the core problem. Ask yourself, is this a data integrity issue, or is it an efficiency issue? Step 2, if the prompt is mentioning things like sliver gaps, overlapping boundaries, or coincident geometry, well, that's an integrity issue. You need to immediately route your thinking to topology rules or the integrate tool. You know, the one that snaps vertices together within a tolerance. But step 3, if the prompt talks about a repetitive workflow, or maybe standardizing a process for new hires, or running a bunch of tools in sequence, that's an efficiency issue. Route your brain straight to ArcGIS Pro Tasks or ModelBuilder. By categorizing the question first, you literally eliminate half the wrong answers right out of the gate.
And that brings us to our ultimate takeaway. In 2025, don't just say you know ArcGIS Pro. Prove it. Getting this certification is your market signal that you are operating right at the cutting edge. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. As AI and automation continue to take over basic mapping tasks, the industry is only going to reward the people who master the complex architecture running behind the scenes. So, are you going to be the one designing the systems or the one replaced by them? Take this playbook, build that muscle memory, organize your study plan, and go prove your expertise. Good luck out there studying, and I will see you in the next explainer.